Will, great to see you. I know you're at an event right now planning to do some conference recording and streaming. Tell me about what project you're working on.
Yeah, definitely. We're on site here in Las Vegas. We're doing a conference for Gartner IT with partnering with the Envision deploying. We've got 13 pearls out in the wild. They've built the network for us. We're putting our devices out there, and we're doing all the records, feeding the streaming units, and then also doing a couple of room-to-room overflow feeds as far as with some SRT stuff, just taking the keynote feed and broadcasting it out to a couple of different locations on site here.
Fantastic. So maybe you can tell me just a little bit about your company, Cinestack, and why people bring you into these projects.
A lot of efficiencies. We kind of keep things very simple. We want to be able to touch everything, notice any issues at a glance, and kind of have a pulse on all of our fleet of pearls that are out in the wild just at a moment's notice. That way we can identify problems, find solutions, and not lose any records, and definitely not have any streams go down. So it's kind of the efficiencies that people like to have us with. And then as far as what else are we doing with the media, as far as recordings, cataloging, uploading and distributing all the different media types to everyone after the event, kind of one-stop shop for everybody.
You mentioned that, sometimes there's an unpredictable nature of these events. You might get asked to do things that you hadn't planned for necessarily. So how's the flexibility of your setup in terms of accommodating all of those variables?
It's very flexible. We try and be as flexible on the input side so that the middle of our workflow is very structured so that then we can be very flexible on the output side of things. So as things come up as far as ad hocs, if we need to do an overflow feed from one room to another because the session is just full, we can very quickly pull that up, get that stuff sent out. So we could stream any room to any room, get that going. And with the use of the API that we've been using, you guys have kind of been updating over the years, it makes it even easier to get that stuff up and running.
So I'd love to dig into that a bit more. Can you tell me how you've leveraged the Epiphan API to empower your workflow at an event like this?
Yeah, we're using the API to do kind of just a fleet management dashboard, if you will, where we can just kind of quickly look at everything and see the status of everything that's happening. And the API just kind of sits there and just asks all of our pearls, basically, what are you doing? Every couple of seconds, what are you doing? Are you recording? Are you streaming? What's your CPU load look like? Do I need to pull up a stream, verify some audio? We can get things going like that. It's very convenient, and it's very color coded. Everybody can kind of take a look at it and see what's happening.
Can you give us a sort of a peek behind the curtain of what your dashboard looks like and how you're monitoring and deploying these pearls?
Yeah, definitely. Let me pull over our program. This is a homegrown app that we've built over the years, and we've kind of got things going. So as you can see, we've got all the rooms out in the wilds. Currently doing a couple of recordings, just kind of burning some tape, basically making sure that we can do a dump over the network at in a couple hours, just kind of do a stress test of the network, make sure that all the files are coming back to us. I've got all the IP addresses. I've got all the room names listed. If we need to start triggering some records and start some things up, we can start recording. Now I'm basically recording in all rooms. If we need to pull up more information, we can pull up some streams. We can take a look at a few things. Currently, we've got a test video going on that's also sending out. So it's just looking for sync issues, and then also what room that it's coming in. So let me just pull up this feed here real fast. It does take a moment to come up. It'll come live in a second. There we go. You probably don't have the audio, but right now we're looking at this room. Here's our test video, the room, date, and time that's coming through. So we have that coming through, which is great. It is the same way as coming into the same Epiphan dashboard and pulling up the feed if you would be here. We can take a look at audio levels if we really need to. And that way we know this room is good as far as an overflow feed if we need it. Make sure all of our overflow feeds are good. I've already set up all the SRT overflows, which is one portion I haven't shown you on the app.
So this is what you use when you need to overflow from one Pearl to another device in another room.
Correct. Yeah. So right now I've got all of our this is our kind of our primary keynote space that's just overflowing everywhere. But let's just say at a quick moment's notice, we don't need to overflow our keynote space. We just need to overflow some other room. So it's just as simple as selecting the room that you want and where we're headed to it. Let's say we're just going to go down to our EML lounge because they want to see this session. We'll add the link. So that's set up now. All we need to do is copy it and jump on over to build the SRT input and build the SRT stream, which takes just a couple of moments through the admin panel, and we're good to go. Which is great. The API really helps us with that. Right now, the next growth step for us, this is just kind of writing down the links, but then we're going to go ahead and expand that out to where once we make that connection here, I'd like to go ahead and connect that. So have the API go out, make sure that the SRT input is up and active, and make sure the stream is actually able to connect and give some sort of feedback. That's our next step. Just need to sit down and code it and make sure that it works well.
That's amazing, because what you've built here is really just adding even more flexibility and the ability to pivot quickly, as the events often do, right?
Correct. Yeah, things come up all the time at a quick notice. We get a text message or a phone call maybe, and it's just we got to get it going within a few minutes, and this really allows us to do that.
So you've really curated this workflow to be as efficient as possible. So can you tell me about why that efficiency is so important when you're managing an event like this?
Because things happen fast on site. That's really the reaction time that we need is if there's an issue, we got to solve it as quick as possible so that it's not an issue that the edit team has to fix. Once we've identified all the problems today, hopefully overnight there's no gremlins. We're going to do a test record in the morning just before we kick off all the sessions for the actual event, which is our day one of show tomorrow.
And in terms of working with the Epiphan API to develop your dashboard and your setup tools, can you tell us a little bit more about how you've done that and any advice that you might share about leveraging the API?
Yeah, the API at first it started really basic, and we've added features over the years as we needed to. But we basically just started with, is the device recording? It was our first API call that we made. We got a little quick status with it, and then we've just kind of scaled up from there. It's nice to know that as we would want to add features, we can kind of dig into the API and find that it's there and we can use it. So it's been pretty easy to add features, but we've definitely started very, very small, and it's just kind of built up from there. So it's been nice to scale up.
Is there status for setup? How does the application actually work in
Correct.
terms of
Yeah.
deploying the pearls?
Yeah, so right now this is just the dashboard of what the pearls are currently doing. As far as the deploy status, we've got another little portion of the app, which is literally just kind of its own dashboard app. As you can see, the color code here on the left, we've deployed in this area. We haven't configured or done any test records or anything like that. So that's why that one's red. So we need to have somebody go take a look at that one. That's the last room that we're doing. The orange is we've kind of deployed it and configured it, but still need to kind of touch it a little bit more to finalize it. The yellow ones, we've faxed basically all the lines out. We know everything's working. We just need to go back through and check source by source, and microphone by microphone, input by input, make sure that everything is recorded correctly. The green ones, we've done that already today. So those are good to go. We'll check them again tomorrow morning, just to make sure no little gremlins overnight came in. But outside of that, it's just kind of a dashboard as far as a deployment status.
And what you've developed with the API has sort of filtered down to your most important data for these devices so that your dashboard is, really telling you exactly what you need to know and keeping it clean and organized throughout the show.
Correct. Yeah, it just gives us the basics that we need. A lot of times in the Pearl admin app, there's just so much stuff that we can be looking at. Sometimes it gets a little overwhelming. So with the dashboard, we just have if it's recording or not, and then the deploy status as far as what's the status of all these devices out in the wild. So that's really nice and handy to have. The API has really given us a lot of flexibility in just having our finger on the status of everything, which is great.
And for you as sort of the solution architect of this workflow, how is it in terms of being able to, onboard your technicians to this process?
It's pretty straightforward. We can give everyone kind of a quick crash course in the app. It's fairly intuitive because we've just kept things very, very simple. And then with the use of the API, just give you the information that we need. That's most important to us.
When you're doing these projects, what is the scale that you might see? Like, how many rooms is it possible to be capturing simultaneously at a conference like this?
Anywhere from maybe 3 or 4 rooms all the way up to 40. Currently, our app will track 40 devices. Currently, I have, let's see here, 10, 14 out in the wild. On a second page, I can track up to 20 more. So we can track 40 pearls at one time. I think the largest show we've done, we've had 38 in the wild, which gets very tedious. So it's really nice to have a dashboard and a very basic overview of everything at a glance.
And when you're out there and your responsibility is to capture everything, how important is reliability and how have you found the reliability with your fleet of pearls?
The pearls are rock solid. We've really never had any issues with them. The issues that we have had are kind of self-induced. Maybe we set it up wrong or programmed it wrong, but the device itself has never failed. We try and shoot for 100% success rate on every recording and every stream.
What kind of advice would you give to others who are trying to capture conferences or live events at scale?
I would say start small, start with the most important things that you need, and then build up from there as you start noticing it. Hey, I wish it would do this, or I wish I had, a status point on something else. Or if somebody asks you, is it possible to do this? Look into it, but start very small, start with the very basics that you need, and just kind of scale up from there.
Amazing. Well, Will, thanks so much for your time. I know you're busy, so we'll let you go, but good luck with the show tomorrow.
You got it, Dan. Thanks for your time, man. It's always a pleasure chatting. I'm always game to talk about pearls, man.
Likewise. So we'll see you next time.
You got it, man. See you later.